Hello, everybody. My name is Gary Fowler. They call me the AI guy. I'm a serial entrepreneur from Silicon Valley, 17 startups under my belt. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which is sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GST that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. And for those out there tuning in for the first time, GST is Get Shit Done Venture Studios. So, with that, I'd like to introduce my incredible guests actually. Fabrizio Chiara is a founder and CEO of Sunspeker, a pioneering clean tech startup that's reimagining how solar energy fits into our lives. And for all of you out there, there's so many dead animals and plants we're going to be able to burn. So, with their patented technologies like SeeBeyond and InvisibleEnergy, Fabrizio and his team are transforming solar panels into aesthetic, human-centered solutions that blend seamlessly with our environment. Under his leadership, Sunspeker has expanded globally, raised investment from international backers, and earned recognition as one of the most innovative photovoltaic companies in Europe. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Fabrizio's journey from design and R&D and renewable energy, the balance between beauty and efficiency, the challenges of scaling in the clean tech sector and scaling in Europe, and the vision for the finance and the future of sustainable cities. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an investor, or simply curious about the future of energy, this conversation will be packed with insight and we're going to ask some interesting questions. So, with that, I'd like to bring Fabrizio on board and also his partner, Alessandro. Hi, Alessandro.
Hi, nice to
So,
meet you. Nice to meet you.
Fabrizio, you describe yourself as both an inventor and an entrepreneur. What first inspired you to merge design with renewable energy?
So, hi Gary, hi everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to speak about some speakers. Some speakers is a startup based in Turin, the north of Italy, that develop a cutting-edge technology to become invisible solar panels. So we believe that the mission of Sunspeaker is to have a big impact and positive impact for the environment, to solve the problem about renewable energy and focus on the photovoltaic sectors, that the aesthetic aspect of the solar panel are ugly, and for this reason is a problematic in Italy, but also in other rest of the world where are a special regulation to prohibit to use solar panel, and this limited the application of solar panel to have an impact for the environment. For this reason, our technology solution, the first is a SeeBeyond static cover, is a special aesthetic, a similar cover for a smartphone, okay, that is used to cover the front of the solar panels. The stickers is customized with a patent technology that permit to create high quality images that maintain high text of the transparency for the sunlight. For this reason, we create a aesthetic surface that self-generate energies and that permit to solve the problem about aesthetic.
But why don't what's the problem? This planet, people don't realize, the challenges that we have on the planet, right? We talked about it. There's only so many dinosaurs and plants that you can burn, right? So every time we burn a gallon of gas, we're burning something that had died. Why don't we get it? And why aren't things taken off a lot more? Why shouldn't it be, raise 1,000 times what you did? In terms of if people really cared about this wonderful planet, why aren't we doing that? Why is it so difficult? Alessandro, you're here. You got a PhD. You're a business guy with a PhD. Now tell me, why is that?
Well, actually, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that question for this question. But we know that well, it's very easy to go to the gas station and have gas lines. So I think that we need to improve our way to live and also to approach to energy. So we have to rethink our existence on this planet in order to find some more sustainable way to live and to be more conscious about what you just say. So uh, the planet is has some finite resources. So we need to develop to change your mind in order to have a sustainable approach to our activities and to look for the best way to use our resources.
Well, let's think about it. If we don't do it, what's going to happen, Alessandro? If we don't do it, what's going to happen in 100
Well,
years from now? You don't need a PhD in business to figure this out, right, guys? What's
no,
going to
exactly.
happen? Nothing
So
good, right?
nothing good, but it's not a problem of to do or not doing this kind of this new way to live in a more sustainable way. But sooner or later we will arrive there. But because as you say, resources are finished, so we need to skip the phase of be conscious earlier and to arrive sooner to a more stable way to live. Because otherwise there will be even worse situation. Even live on this planet would be even harder. And we everybody see the effects, in particular in Italy, we see the effects of climate change, and this will be even harder in the future years. So we live in a very hot planet, and this will be not sustainable, in particular for people that are not able to, well, they have not enough money to live in a good way.
Well, I mean, you think about this, right? So the average temperatures around the planet are going up. In fact, by the year 3000, the average sea levels around the world could be up 25 meters, right? 25, up to 25. So if you think about 25 meters, what happens to Venice? Nothing good. You know what I mean? It's already started, right? I was there recently. And you can see the flooding taking place. It's not like it was 20 years ago. So these kind of places like Mumbai, India, are going to be underwater. Here's the other thing, guys. We got 8.1 billion people on the planet Earth, estimated to be 13 billion by the end of the century. Then you got global climate change happening at the same time. While sea levels goes up, there's less places for people to live. And then all of a sudden, because of the heat, I don't know what it's like in Italy right now, but it's been wildly hot in the US. Well, guess what? Crops don't grow. In fact, I don't know if you guys know this. In the summer of 1815, there was an explosion in Mount Tambor, Indonesia. People in Italy did not have food, right? Because it actually created a volcanic ash around the planet. It created a nuclear winter in July of 1816 in Italy. There was no food. In fact, there was a mass migration of people to the US, to the East Coast of the United States during that time because of it's called the year without the summer. So if we look back in time and we look at how weather has an impact, then we can extrapolate what happens if we don't have any fuel, right? Because it was snowing in New York City in July. Snowing, right? Well, guess what? Everybody ate the plants. The next year, what happens? So there's no plants. They ate all the animals. What happens the next year? Nothing good. There were riots. So these kind of things we can go down through. In fact, Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein at Lord Byron's house on Lake Como, by the way, when she was 18 years old, during that exact time, because it was so creepy. We need to use technologies just like Sunspeker has. And it can't be this thing where it's an afterthought. It's got to come out. You know what I mean? It's like, for you guys, it's like having a Ferrari in the garage. You got to get the Ferrari out of the garage and drive it around. You can't just drive it around. You got to win the damn race, right? So, you look at it, and I understand. I talked to a lot of people. I had the lead author of the Nobel Prize on my show, the clean tech, the guy who did it in, it was 2007. And so we were talking about how important this is. We have so that let's talk about it. So you explain how your SeeBeyond and InvisibleEnergy technologies work and why they're different from traditional solar panels. Why is that important, Fabrizio? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah. So there are we have two different solutions, okay? Because the SeeBeyond is a static cover. InvisibleEnergy is a new patent technology that are patented also in US and Japan that transform a digital screen in a solar panel digital screen. This is also because we have an idea about our smart cities. where, for example, you imagine the Times Square, where every buildings are covered with a big screen, no, digital out of home markets. For this reason, for us, the first point for solar is this: to monetizing the solar panel. For the first time, we have decided to start with a static cover. These are stickers that is fully customizable, that permit to create a surface everywhere that generally recreate the same images that compose the facades of the building or the rooftop, for example. But currently, Sunspeker working also on the automotive market to create a part of the electric cars customized with our solution. For example, we're working for energy harvesting startup in Italy to integrate the aesthetic aspect inside the building, to use the harvesting technologies to generate energy from of the energy, and to self-generate energy also when there is not possible to use the sunlight to transform in energies. The potential of a solution is this: in the world where it's very, very important the impact of the renewable energy, we want to expand the application everywhere, not only for a big solar plant, but also to transform the cities in a solar plant that permitted to reducing to use new spaces.
Don't settle for less. Here's what others are doing to fix missing and teeth.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I listen to you now.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. I heard something come in. You're frozen there for a second. I thought there was a problem. Go ahead.
Okay. And our solution have the mission to improve the adoption of solar panel from the little house to big corporation, to cover the building of the company, to self-generate energy, to moving to net zero. This is the target for European Union, but also for for United States and other areas. For example, China is the first nation in the world for renewable energy generations. But the second aspect is, we're moving to the smart cities. It's very, very important also to open a new market opportunities to self-generate energy, to reducing the cost, and also to use new technologies to improve the adoption of solar panels, for example, for out of home, the advertising market, but also for digital, because the digital transformation.
Listen, what's the benefit? Let's talk about what you do. It's different. So what is the differentiator between you and a traditional solar panel? Why would people want to do it, and how does it work?
Yes, but the positive impact is to
talk about the technical thing. Tell me exactly, like if I have two panels there, why is yours so much better than another panel?
Okay, but we started from the aspect that is a starting point to adopt solar panel in specific areas where there is special regulation to prohibit to use. For example, in Italy, there are over 40% of the total space of the nation is not possible to install solar panel because there are a special regulation. For this reason, that permit in Italy to expand it and to improve the adoption of solar panel. This is the first aspect. This problem is not only Italian, but is also in all the rest in the world, especially in Europe, but also in US. For example, the city of Buffalo banned to use solar panel. The governor of the city of the Buffalo don't want to use to adopt solar panel because the aesthetic aspect is not good. For this reason, that permit with our solution to open the door new opportunities also in the area where a special regulation prohibit to use. This is very, very important for us.
And well, but that sounds like it's an education issue. They just don't understand, right? So yeah. That's part of the, when you guys are doing your messaging and getting your messaging out, part of it is, one is a thought leadership part and it's like the Ferrari in the garage thing. If you keep it in your garage, I have my friends down here in Palm Beach have Ferrari literally in their garage and they don't take them out. And so, they treat them like art. But the key is not getting it just out of your garage, is driving it down the neighborhood. It's not just driving in the neighborhood, it's win Formula One. So getting it out so people know. But I think, Fabrizio, when people feel the pain of what you're doing, because I get it, you know what I mean? I told you I spoke at the UN about this. And the one thing is understanding how important this problem is for every human on the planet, right? It's not just about aesthetics, it's about whether we're going to live or die, right? Literally live or die. This is not a joke, right? This is serious stuff. And it's not for us, Fabrizio, it's for our kids, it's for our grandchildren. They're the ones that are going to face this problem. And if we don't do a good job as a humans, right, to be able to help our families to be able to survive, where are we even on this planet? Why? You know what I mean? It's crazy. We're destroying this place. It's unbelievable, right? And you give us hope. Hope is what Sunspeaker is all about. Is hope, isn't it? And hope is the most important thing to make this world a little bit better place. And so as we're going down through it, by the way, as we're going down through this, for all of you out there, I have a multi-agent large language model that's like my grandmother that's down here, and she's listening. I call my AI a she, right? She listens, and she's coming up, and she's very compassionate about what you're doing. But the key is, she says, get it out. Get the message out to the world, guys. Don't talk about the technology behind it. Talking about the impact on humanity, because that's what you're doing. And now you're right. You got places like Buffalo. Why in the world would Buffalo have regulations like that? Because guess what? In another 100 years, if they don't use solar panels, they're probably not going to be around, because it's going to be so cold. It's frigid cold in Buffalo, in the wintertime. What do you do? So, love what you're doing. So many people think, guys, that solar technology is all about efficiency, Alessandro. But how do you balance aesthetics with performance? How important are aesthetics, and how important is performance?
Yeah, actually, the solution, the Sunspeaker solution, is reducing the performance of the solar panel that is covered of about 20%. It sounds like a lot, but actually other aesthetic solution like the colored solar panel are less efficiency than our solution. So what we are trying to do is to improve the aspect and to personalize the aspect of the solar panels in order to obtain a wider diffusion of solar panel. What you said before is correct. So there are some limitations that can sound um, crazy, because we need renewable energy, and there are limitations about the aspect. It can be crazy thing, but however, we know that um, the the aspect of solar panel is very important. We used to say in US that well, the very first car made with an industrial process was the Ford Model T, that was available only in one color, black. We think that in actually right now in the solar panel industry, we are in the same spot. So we need to evolve our mind in order to think about the solar panel in a different way. It's not that aspect that should be considered as a solar panel. Well, solar panel in the future will have a different aspect, a personalized aspect, and probably you will not know about a solar panel is installed in a place. So this is a very a small thing, well, you address very well the problem, but we are doing a very small part in order to help the diffusion of this kind of renewable energy. And we know that the aesthetic and design is very important. As Fabrizio said, that we live in Italy. We have so many heritage and monumental buildings. As you know, we talk about Venice, so beautiful places, and have to be these places have to be conserved. Okay, so it's very important for us also to maintain these places as they are, but at the same time we need renewable energy. So we need to merge needs in order to to save us, to save ourselves, and to save our kids.
But the message has to be clear. So you're not giving up on efficiency. You're just making it look a lot better, right? So it's a point where beauty and efficiency meet. It's kind of like the Ferrari, right? It's a point is, it's like that is how do you make something, like you said, a Model T that was black because they put it on the production line and everybody got the same car. But the situation after a while, people didn't want the same car. They wanted to think differently. And having these, so the other thing is, I owned a construction company. My first startup was construction tech. And one of the things that we did is we used passive solar many years ago when people weren't even talking about it, right? But we used passive solar and we built it in. So it was very, I used it for extra light in places like living rooms. So people in Pennsylvania and New York could actually build a house and have natural light in their house. They loved it, in their bathrooms. Right? Why not? These are simple things. Keep it simple, stupid. Why don't we do that? And having the aesthetics where you can put this on the side of a building and it looks like it's part of the building, right? Like my friend Elon Musk does, roof panels, roof tiles, and those kind of things. This is going to be the future. Integrated design, integrated into everything. And so, you're right. The Italians have the heritage of design. But when you take design and efficiency and put them as one, that starts to be quite interesting, right? It's worth paying a premium for. So what do so if you look at it, do you see the technology being applied to rooftops as Elon's doing, or in cities, infrastructure, consumer products? Where does it go? Where do you guys see it going? Go ahead, Fabrizio. Or I don't care, either one of you. Where is it going to go? Is it going to go from the rooftops to car tops? To car roofs? Where do you see? Where are your top three? What are your top three markets? Where are they going to be installed?
Currently.
So
currently, Sunspeker operation is focused on the residential application, but also we are opening the opportunity also for commercial application for the industry. Okay, we want to move not all. We want to start with the installation on the rooftop above. We move on the facades. That because if you want to have more power generation, it's possible also to use a second of the application to transform the facades of the building in solar installation. So we are started with the operation 3 years ago when we are started to create the POC of the application our solution with the first partners. But currently we are moving, we're growing, and currently after to close the first our part of fundraising, we are started to create our facility in Italy to extend the operation in the other areas. Maybe for the commercial phase. Okay, currently we have requests from over 10 states around the world. The biggest part, the part of the market is concentrated in Europe, but we have received also requests from US, for example, from the Canada, because we're working with a special project for a military application. But because there are a lot of needs of the clean energy everywhere. So the next phase for Sunspeker is continue to growing in Italy and in Europe with the installation to create a commercial network that permitted to reach the new needs of the singular markets that permitted to create the high volume to reducing the cost and at the same time to expand it also in the other nations. But it's not only for manufacturing. We are invested a lot of money in R&D because we are a startup and we believe that technology permits to change the world, and only if you continue to invest in new technology that permit to maintain the leadership of the market. For this reason, for example, we are talking about of energy harvesting, of the application in automotive sectors, on the nautical sectors, and that permit offer, for example, with a new digital.
I'd love to see a Ferrari with your technology on top of it. I love to see a Ferrari, a car like Elon's doing with Tesla, right?
Yes.
And that would be really, really cool. To be honest with you, I've been looking at some new electric vehicles myself, and I was thinking about if you had highly efficient, depending, and like in Spain, highly efficient solar panels on top of a car, you could probably, it would be enough of a charge that would be at a household current level, I'm thinking, right, to be able to keep a charge going. And how often do you drive a car? Like 20 minutes a day? It's crazy, right? You hardly drive at all, but it sits there. So if you put it in the right location, it's interesting. But what do you think? So you're going around the world, you've raised what, 600,000 euros or so, correct?
Exactly.
That's not a lot of money to get this thing out, right? You need, I don't know, a lot of money, $15, $20 million to really get this launched. It's great to prove the concept, right? But to get it out. So how are you going to go about it? And then the other thing is, Silicon Valley, guys, is a port to the world, right? Half the money in the world's located there. And good, bad, or indifferent. So if I want to raise money from Spain or from some wealthy German families, I raise it there because they come there. It's like fishing. So have you thought about Silicon Valley? And, because you've developed something that's differentiated by the aesthetics, right? So it makes what's normal beautiful. So have you thought about Silicon Valley as a port for you, or what are your plans?
Alessandro, do you want to? Or?
Yeah. We would like to raise my money. You're right, because we are setting up manufacturing products, so we need a lot of money. Actually, we know that. Um, you're right. There are a lot of money in Silicon Valley, but you have also high costs, and for us, it's kind of difficult to arrive there and start up everything. So we just begin here in Italy. We have a good industrial territory. So we try to leverage these assets and to build something that can be solid. And maybe in the future we would like to grow. Consider the fact that what we talked about before about the performances of our sticker is right now we have 20% reduction in the energy production, but right now we are kind of we have an artisanal process, so we have to improve. We can improve to maybe 10% from here to 5 years, and we are ready to scale. In that case, we will be very competitive, and we think that our solution can be even more appealing. So I don't know if Silicon Valley is the right place. I think that there is a very good environment and people like you that understand the challenge. This is the most important thing.
You're right about it. That's Alessandro. That's one of the top things, right? Because people get it. They're from all over the place. They're from Italy. They're from Africa, but they get it. The thing is, they know what you're doing. And when they understand it, they're willing to invest because they understand what the market. I mean, this is not rocket science in terms of figuring it out. We need to have more energy because it's going, peak oil, things are going to be gone, right? There's only so much nuclear that we have right now. We got to use everything in order to keep this to be a clean planet, right? And so, no, you're right. But here's the other thing is it's like building a house, guys. You got to build the right foundation of the house. The right foundation is being known as thought leaders and getting the message out. It has to be everywhere, right? And people need to know, because once they understand, they do it. But if they don't understand and you haven't captured their minds, it's really hard. I've been doing this for almost 40 years in the Valley, 17 different companies. And I've seen it so many different times. You can't imagine. I'm an investor in a number of the companies that you know their names of, right? And I was doing it early on before anybody knew about them. And they would make fun of them, by the way. I remember when they said Amazon's just for books. It was 1999. Jeff Bezos went on the Jay Leno show. I had just started one of the first e-commerce consulting companies in 1998. People said it's never going to happen. And they were laughing at him for bleeding money. They aren't laughing anymore, are they? Right? Everything changed. He's worth a few $100 billion now. It's the same thing with you. Somebody's going to do it, because there's one thing about it's like, I like the Model T comparison. But there's also a situation is to be able to integrated design. Integrated design is the key, right? Making it beautiful, integrated with a touch of Italian brilliance. That's where this thing starts to become magical. So, it's not what you have. By the way, 90% of building the unicorns is storytelling. It's not the product. It's a story. So you can have a mediocre product look at Facebook, Friendster, and MySpace. You get 3 companies. All of a sudden, people got behind Mark Zuckerberg, and now look at Facebook. It's the same thing with you. Get people behind it. That's the key. They need to be your greatest cheerleaders. Remember, 90% of the wealth, 99% of the wealth is held by 1% of the population. The limited partners in the venture funds are high net worth individuals or family offices, right? Get to them. They're the people that are concerned about their children and grandchildren, right? That's how you do it. Anyhow, you're going down through it. So my AI's telling me all kinds of things. It says, what's the first word that comes in mind when you hear solar? So it told me to ask you, Fabrizio, what's the first word that comes in mind when you hear solar?
It's a good question, because I know the crystal ball to discover the future of the solar of the world in the next year. But I think that, for example, perovskite technologies that permit to improve the quality of the energy production of the solar panels. That permit.
What's the first word? I want one word.
One word. Yes, we have a one word. We have only one.
What is the one word that comes to mind when you hear solar?
So,
Well, mine is China, because actually China is have a strong hands on everything that is dealing with the solar energy. So mine for me is China.
Mine for me is life. Mine for me is life, because with solar we can live. So, favorite place in Italy where you'd love to see Sunspeker panels installed? Where would you like to see the panels installed, Alessandro?
Well, we have some installation already, but
where would the place you'd love to go?
In the most difficult places. So, for example, the city center of Venice, the city center of Rome, the city center of the most beautiful art cities in Italy, because in that case it means that our solution is effective in what we are trying to do. So in order to camouflage or the solar panel and to integrate them also in very challenging contexts where the aspect and the design is crucial.
If you weren't building Sunspeker today, what would you be doing, Fabrizio?
We apply, for example,
if you weren't building Sunspeker today, what would you be doing? What would you be doing? Would you be sailing? Would you be sales, marketing, engineering? What would you be doing?
But we are a little startup that's growing day by day.
But
Okay,
if you weren't doing it, what would you be doing, Alessandro? What would you be doing?
but maybe commercial.
What I will doing in the
If
startup,
you
or
weren't building your company, what would you be doing?
I obviously strategy and finance. So this is
There you
my
go,
background, and
strategy
this
and
is what
finance. Would you
But
coffee or espresso, and how many a day? This is from the AI. It's telling me to ask you these questions. Coffee or espresso? What do you like better?
I can't hear you.
no, I don't understand. Sorry, can you please can you repeat?
The questions it's asking you. What do you like? These are rapid fire closing questions. Do you like coffee or do you like espresso? These are just questions.
Okay, coffee.
All right. Most underrated clean tech innovation people aren't paying enough attention to yet. What do you think's underrated in clean tech that needs to be paid attention to?
Oh, and I think that, but I don't know. I don't know because in this market currently there are a lot of competitors that permit to create a good competitions for us with different technologies. For this reason, I don't know where.
You know what I
who
think
the
it is,
best
Fabrizio? I think it's potable water. You know, our water's getting dirtier and dirtier, and we've got to have clean water. And I think thinking about how we can have water, you know, we can last without food, but I think water's one of the things that we don't spend enough time on. Sometimes we forget. Um, who inspires you the most in the world of innovation and why, Alessandro? Hello?
we have a problem with the connections.
Yeah, I see the connections. So, who inspires you the most in the world of innovation and why? Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah, I
Alessandro?
can hear you.
Okay, who
Yeah.
inspires you the most in the world of innovation? Is it Steve Jobs? Is it the founder of Ferrari? Who inspires you in innovation and why?
Well, my answer is quite common. So actually, is Elon Musk, uh, because is very popular also in Italy. Even if in the last few years is not a role model, probably for everyone, but his way to think about huge problems and address it in a very effective way in different fields is something that is very inspiring. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so guys, we're coming up to the top of the show. You know, this wraps up today's episode of Top Global Startups. A huge thank you to both of you, Alessandro and Fabrizio, for joining us today and sharing your inspiring journey and the groundbreaking work Sunspeaker is doing to make solar energy not only efficient, but truly beautiful. If you'd like to learn more about Sunspeaker and their technologies, like SeeBeyond and InvisibleEnergy, you can visit their website, or on LinkedIn, you can contact Fabrizio and Alessandro. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's passionate about innovation and sustainability. You know, as we said earlier, you know, we must make our planet a better place for our kids and our grandchildren. And so it's up to all of us to be able to do that. So guys, if you want to stay on for a minute after the show, we can talk. And to all of you out there, stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. We'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition of GST Presents Top Global Startups. I'm your host, Gary Fowler. I'll be back to you again soon.